Hello guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So I don't know if you noticed, it's crazy slow news week. So, you need to recycle video ideas, and this is definitely one of them. I want to speak to you about Q2 Palantir earnings preview, what I'm looking for, and how I think that the stock price is going to be affected. It's still an interesting topic if you're a Palantir nerd, because if certain things happen on the Q2 earnings, the floor can actually tank and really do a pullback. And I want to share with you what those things are and what things can make the stock price go up and by how much and what I'm looking for in the earnings. So it's going to be all nerdy earnings stuff. So please make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you can hit me up on Twitter. Vince is bullish. Come and say hi to me there. So the very interesting thing about this Q2 Palantir earnings is that I'm not even going to show you my numbers, because we are in the AI bubble age and numbers don't matter. And I mean, this kind of sounds funny, but it's sort of true, because with Palantir, the attention will be on other things and not on numbers. So I want to give you 3 scenarios that I think can happen that can very differently affect the stock price, and I want to give you what it is that I think is the most likely. So number 1, this is the most bullish that can happen, which is Palantir beats expectations on revenue. They revise up the guidance, and everything is hanky-dory, because basically where the price of Palantir is today, they're pricing in a re-acceleration of growth. And obviously if Palantir comes in and says that the revenue went up 40%, and we were thinking that it would only go up, I think the current estimate is 21 or maybe 22%, something like this. That's exactly what the market is thinking. And then they raise the guidance, again, exactly what the market is thinking. And just because we have been mooning so much, I think if this earnings would come up, the stock would maybe continue up on a nice uptrend, but it wouldn't be like a 30% up day. However, I think that this scenario is not that likely, and that has to do with how Palantir makes its money. So you remember I talked about this many times on this channel, that when Palantir gets a new customer, Alex Karp has a tendency to give Palantir away for free so that he can prove the value to the customer. It's actually a very smart sales technique. And he said that with this new product, AIP, they don't have a pricing strategy. They just want to take the whole market. So that means, what that means to me is any customer who calls them and says, look, we're interested and we know you're an expensive company. What do? Then Karp says, look, I'll send 3 guys out. We show you how good the software is. And then we're going to rip you off, but only after you have seen how amazing the software is. So that means that if they're getting a lot of new phone calls from a customer, and we know that they're getting a lot of new calls from customers because Karp has said it in interviews after interviews after interviews, then they're signing up all these new pilot projects, but it's not resulting in revenue straight away. Only the ones that close, and the contracts have to start and take some time. So I think that this first scenario is very unlikely. So then we go to scenario number 2. Scenario number 2 is that they disappoint on earnings. So they don't come in with 22, they come in with 21.5 or 20.9, or like, these would be huge disappointments. Remember that where the price is today, the market is pricing in a re-acceleration of growth. I would even though they guided for 22%, I think at the current pricing, maybe even 23, 24%, the market would treat it as a miss, because it's so much priced in that Palantir is going to re-accelerate the earnings. So if they do that, miss on earnings, and then they don't increase the guidance, then there is something wrong, right? Like, all these customers are not translating into new contracts and new revenue, and that would be really weird. And I think that this scenario is super unlikely, okay? But it can happen, so I added it to this list. Then number 3, this is the one that I believe will happen. And that is that they will give us a little bit of surprise on growth. So they will go from 22 to, I don't know, 25, 26, something like this. But they will emphasize that they have a record number of pilot projects and the robust interest keeps coming from the customers. So remember that Karp said in the interview before the AIP that they are getting the amount of calls in a month that they were getting in a year. Okay, so that's a 12x increase in customers being interested in Palantir. That is huge. Okay, that is insane. But I don't think that they are able to recognize any revenue because, again, Karp is giving it away for free. And I think that this is the most likely scenario that will happen. And again, I don't think that this will change Palantir's trajectory. I think that we will continue in an uptrend. I made this prediction many times that I think that we will rally up to close to around the 25s and we will stagnate there until the company grows into its valuation. I'm not saying that the fair value of Palantir is 25. I'm saying that the irrational AI bubble market is going to take it to 25. So that I just want to make it very clear. I think that we are around fair value on the stock. If they increase the growth, then we are undervalued. So this is what I think. Okay. So, and then in this third version, if they probably will have to raise their guidance and next year's guidance, and you know, that will again create an avalanche of analysts being more positive and new buyers. But again, it wouldn't be like a 30% plus day or 20% plus like it happened on the last earnings. We would just keep going as we have been going. And hey, 100% a month, what's there to complain about? Okay, maybe not at that speed, but just a nice uptrend. So here is the things that I'm really going to be watching on the earnings. So that is net dollar retention, because that number was actually quite shitty, and so shitty that they were hiding it on their presentation. It was 111%. So I really want that number to go back up, because it has been, going down and down and down. And if that number would suddenly start going back up, I think that would be confirmation that Palantir's old customers are, buying new products, possibly the AIP. And again, that's just a very positive sign. My most important number, I think, currently on Palantir will be the number of new customers and what's happening with the revenue growth, both on the commercial and on the government. I think commercial is more important, because if Palantir is ever going to be this gigantic, maybe $1 trillion company that some people speak about, it wouldn't be via the government. It would have to be via the commercial sector. So obviously that's something that I'm really looking for. And what I'm not looking for and don't really care about this earnings season is, what is the profits? Okay, as long as they have profit. Okay, even if the profit is $1, amazing, they have it. They're that much closer to the S&P 500 inclusion. But I don't care if the net profit margin is 0.1% or 1% or 2%. It's probably going to be in that range. Don't care about the gross margin. Don't care about anything else. And this statement, it even made me smile, because I've been covering Palantir for almost 2 years now. And, looking at the company, from so many different angles, doing a lot of due diligence. And I don't know if you noticed, but when you start getting a lot of understanding for something, things tend to become simpler and simpler and simpler. And to me, Palantir at this stage that we are is so overly simplistic. If they're getting a lot of new customers, we are going to be really fine. If the revenue growth is accelerating and they're revising the guidance, the stock has way much more room to go up, and it's good for us. And that's it. There is no other data that you can or need to pay attention to. Again, at this point of Palantir, is just doing what they have been doing, and they have been very successful at it, and the management is doing amazing. They adapted amazing and pivoted to this AIP. So now it's just execution and doing what they have already been doing and doing more of it and doing it better. So this is what I'm expecting from the Q2 earnings. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and say hi to me on Twitter. Vince is bullish. That's my handle. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.